expect to be fully
Full.
fully full. We've done it already.
Paella in Arabic means baqaya, leftovers. So that's where the word paella came from.
Put up the napkin, a nice restaurant, and they've got the napkin and they've tucked it into the. I'm like, it's not a bib. It's not a bib.
Some people are becoming really particular, even the vegetarians. Your staff should be ready to answer these kind of questions.
MannersUnfiltered. This is MannersUnfiltered. Learn about style. MannersUnfiltered.
So, welcome to another episode of Manners Unfiltered with my lovely co-host Orchids Roy and myself, Emma Brain. And today we are talking about a very contentious subject, which is dining etiquette. And I think it's something that everyone has a bee in their bonnet about. And joining us is our very special guest. We have Ahmed Bassem, also known as Chef Bezos.
Yes.
He is a UK City and Guilds trained professional chef. And you did this during COVID. You just wanted to bring your gastronomical passion to life.
Absolutely, yes. What better time would that be? You know, it was during the Corona.
Yeah.
And it was actually quite a great experience.
So fun.
Yeah, but the tough part was wearing masks while cooking during the Corona times. It wasn't easy. Back then, but then you just got used to it and you adapted. Yeah.
Can't wait to see you open your own restaurant soon.
Hopefully
it's
soon.
gonna happen.
Pray for me.
Can't wait.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yes.
It will happen. Yeah. I can't wait to try your dishes.
Definitely, you'll be exclusively invited for it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I look forward to that.
Thank you
to that
so
invite.
much. Orchid. Thanks.
So before we get stuck into dining etiquette and what we should all be doing, Orchids, do you want to run us through a little bit of the history of food and dining in the UAE?
Certainly. So we are going to talk about, I'll tell you something about the dining history and eating habits here in the UAE. So historically, Emirati cuisine was influenced by the region's nomadic and seafaring traditions. The diet primarily consisted of dates, camel milk, fish, and rice. Now, the traditional Emirati meals often centered around communal gatherings with food served on a large communal tray called a safra.
Yes.
Right?
Sofra.
Yes.
You're
Sofra,
right. Absolutely.
yeah.
You got that right. Yeah.
People would eat with the right hand, as the left hand was considered impolite for dining.
Absolutely.
Then the culture of hospitality is deeply ingrained in Emirati society. Guests are honored with generous portions of food, and it's customary to accept seconds as a sign of respect.
Correct. Yep.
Yes. So expect to be fully
Full.
fully full. We've done it already. When you're invited to an Emirati home. So while traditional Emirati cuisine is still enjoyed in many households, the UAE multicultural makeup has led to a wide variety of international cuisines being embraced and integrated into daily life.
Correct.
Yes. So now, what is the national dish of the UAE? Now, there were actually two dishes that are mentioned here. One is al-haris, which is a slow-cooked dish made of a mixture of wheat and meat, normally chicken or lamb, that is cooked until it has a porridge-like consistency. And it's traditionally prepared during the holy month of Ramadan.
Absolutely, yeah.
And serve as a symbol of unity and community.
It's super delicious, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I look forward. The other one is the makbous.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us about this dish, Chef?
Well, makbous is a traditional dish as well. You're absolutely right. And, its main ingredient is rice. So majority of the Emirati food also includes a lot of rice. And you can add lots of different herbs to it. And they're famous for their herbs. And this gives you a very unique taste in your palate that you'd not actually forget. You'd actually ask for more. So that's why it's a traditional dish. And people just love it. You know, if you try for the first time, you know what? Why don't I try it again? You know, and it's always
Just
like that with their food. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very addictive. Okay, so I have one trivia question for you, Chef. Do you know what is the first restaurant here in the UAE? Any guess? Or Emma, you've been here for a long time.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know. I might guess. Is it? It's here in Dubai. Yes.
Yes.
Al-Bastaki.
Yes,
Al-Bastaki
Al-Bastakia.
restaurant,
Yes,
yeah.
or credited to Bastakia.
Al-Bastakia. Yes. Sorry.
So it's a historic neighborhood in Dubai, and in the early 20th century, the area was home to merchants and traders who established small eateries serving traditional Emirati dishes and refreshments.
Wow, interesting.
So,
Yeah,
yes, you got that
stunning.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
Well done.
Thank you.
Right.
And
So
still a great area today.
I know. I
Still a
love
great
going
area.
there. You feel the culture.
Yeah.
There's so much character.
very genuine,
And
yes,
yes,
exactly,
I love
you know.
it. And it's very close to Spice Souk, Gold Souk. I love the hustle and bustle.
Absolutely, yes.
I feel like I'm transported to 20 years ago.
Back, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I love
Where
it. I love that
etiquette
area.
was still there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like we've lost it, and the UAE, as we know, is a melting pot of so many different nationalities, and it stands to reason that everyone brings their own cultural differences with
Correct.
them. But on an international level, there are kind of sort of hard and fast rules for international dining
Absolutely,
and
yes.
do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how many of them people actually know. I mean, like, just when you get to a table, what is all I mean, I come back, I keep making Pretty Woman references. Go by the tines, tie the
Yes, you do.
tines, on the forks. Salad fork,
Exactly.
starter fork, main course fork, dessert fork.
Well, yeah, it's very interesting actually. Depends on how many courses you get in a certain restaurant that you visit, especially now how it differs from cuisine to cuisine and culture to culture, like
Yeah.
Spanish, Portuguese versus English or Arabic. Even the Arabs, the Egyptian versus the Palestinian, Jordanian, Lebanese, Emirati, Bahraini, Qatari, Saudi. Every country has its own cuisine.
Yes.
Well, guess what? Egypt is right next to Sudan, but totally different cuisines.
Yeah.
Even the type of food they're eating. But from my experience in studying different cuisines and dishes, there are certain countries that you can relate some types of dishes to, from Chile to Peru to others that are here in the UAE or Morocco. For instance, Morocco is well known for their tagines or certain dishes that is also replicated in Peru or different parts of Latin America or even Southeast Asia. A lot of the basic ingredients that we are using even here in our UAE dishes are Indian. So
Yeah.
the Indian herbs, the nature of the basmati rice and all that stuff, that's all coming from India. You know? So, like you mentioned about the fusion of dishes,
Yes.
and how is this enlightening our gastrological experience here in Dubai? It's all for the benefit of everyone, to be honest. Yeah, like I never thought I'd
Absolutely,
actually eat a paella. I never even knew growing up what a paella was, you know. But a paella in Arabic means baqaya, means leftovers.
Okay.
Baqaya is leftovers. So that's where the word paella came from, you know,
Okay, yeah.
as Spanish, because Spain was Andalusia, and so a lot of these things kind of evolve to
Yes.
what we are today. But no one asks about the history of anything. You just go eat. It's good food, you know. It's a nice restaurant, and that's it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good that you point out, the origin of food, because every nationality. So this is one thing that I've observed over the years when I was traveling, that is common in a lot of culture.
Correct.
Is the dim sum or dumpling.
Yes,
yeah,
the
the dumpling.
dumpling, yeah.
So in Asia, like in China, so you have different types of dumpling, right?
Correct,
So you
yeah.
have the hargao, siomai, xiaolongbao, and then you go to in Korea,
Korea,
they
it's
have
different.
the
It's
they have
fried
the
and it has a different,
and they have the
flavor.
can't remember. I'll come back to that. But in Japan, they have the gyoza.
Yes,
and
gyoza
then
is one of my favorite,
you go
you know.
to
Chicken
going back
gyoza
to
or
the
beef
west.
gyoza,
So
yeah.
Nepal, they have the momos.
Momos.
Yes, and then India, they have
But
the
it's
samosas.
still a dumpling at the end
Yes,
of the day.
Still a
you know?
dumpling.
and then in you go further. Italy, they
Yes.
have the ravioli.
Raviolis.
Yes,
exactly.
you go to
Another
Poland.
shape of a dumpling. you know?
Yes, you go to Poland, they have the pierogi.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and then in Hungary, they have that. So this is I was like, wow, even in South America, Argentina, they have the empanadas.
Empanadas,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, yeah.
Another
exactly.
form of same context
Yes.
of what a dumpling is, you know?
Yes, the cooking style and how it's presented. So I'm glad you mentioned about paella and the origin because I love food. I love
insane.
history and I love
Amazing.
learning about.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know, I keep always, I tend to ask myself, what did, for instance, the pharaohs eat? What was their favorite dish? What was like, they always had the royal cuisine for the royal elite of the community or the people. But
Yeah.
you ever ask yourself that question? You know, even the word etiquette,
Yeah.
who invented that? It was in France, Louis V, I believe,
Yes.
back in the 1700s. He was the one to come up with that word, you know. But what triggered that for royalty to actually understand the meaning of the word etiquette when we're sitting together? Why is there a napkin on my lap? And this is not something new in the 90s or the 80s. This
Yeah.
goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. So
No idea.
It's fascinating,
But
you know?
seeing as you brought up the napkin, see how I kind of just slid that in there.
Yeah.
Seeing as you brought up the napkin, nothing drives me more crazy than to see someone in a nice restaurant and they've got the napkin and they've tucked it into the. I'm like, it's not a bib. It's not a
Yes,
bib.
yeah. Yes.
You should. And actually,
and
there's
it doesn't
a,
look nice.
doesn't look
Yeah.
nice. And actually, it's like if the waiter comes, they will sometimes lay it in your lap, and they do it from one side to the
To the
other.
other, yeah.
And it's very, there are ways of doing
Elegant, yes.
using
Yes.
a napkin. And napkins, the paper ones, it's not meant to rub your mouth with either. You're meant to. It's just literally meant to
To
dab
dab,
the
yes,
sides
on
of
the
your mouth.
side.
That's it.
That's correct.
Not
Yeah.
literally rub your face in it.
That is so true, yeah.
It's like-
But how things are misunderstood, you know,
Yes.
because when you go to a restaurant, I know I'm going to sit on that table. So whoever's there from a waiter or waitress, they welcome you in.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir. Please have a seat, you know, in the family. But again, there's an etiquette to the seating.
Yes.
So usually it's the lady first, then the husband or a couple, the man, and then children, if any. So this is the order. But in today's world, there's no such order anymore, you know. Everyone just jumps on the seat and sits anywhere, and you put your phone on and mess up the whole setup of your table. So this kind of confuses the people trying to serve you or trying to serve you properly. But again, in certain restaurants in Dubai, well-reputed restaurants, you cannot really do that because the etiquette will be there the moment you step in through that door, you know.
That's
and
correct.
you know what kind of restaurants I'm talking about. These are high-level, high-end
Yes.
restaurants.
Upscale, and
Yeah,
yes.
totally different. You respect because you feel different the moment you step into that restaurant. Not like when you're going to any of these street restaurants or fast food dining experiences. It's totally different because you don't need that special plate with the fork on the left and the knife on the right, you know, understanding how the setup is. Even the menu, you don't need anyone to explain the menu for you, you know, because in certain restaurants you go to, it's written in Spanish or Portuguese or Mexican. The words they're using, I have no clue what that dish is, you know, or Japanese. And you also, as a customer, you need to understand what you're eating, you know. And some people tend to ask, they inquire about, for instance, where's this meat coming from? Who's your butcher?
Yes.
Where do you get that chicken from?
Is it free range?
Exactly. You know? There you go.
Is it
You
free
know?
range? Yeah.
So
Organic?
Organic. You know, some people are becoming really particular. Even the vegetarians. That's another story. So your staff or your waiters and waitresses should be ready to answer these kind of questions. And this only happens for people who really studied hospitality from A to Z. Not like people serving you in fast food chain like KFC or anything else like that, you know. So again, there's a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, a lot of studying that comes into play. If you go to any of these restaurants and fancy hotels down in Jumeirah or the Palm, you clearly see the experience in the eye of the waiter because he knows what to recommend to you without overselling. Like, all right, why don't you try this dish? We have our special chef here today. He's prepared this and that. So it kind of calls you in. You're like, yeah, why not?
I mean,
I'm
one
ready
of the
to-
best dining experiences I ever had, and it was a fantastic restaurant here. And honestly, I looked at the menu and I had no clue. And the waiter was absolutely brilliant. And he said, "Would you like me to? You tell me what the kind of stuff you like." And I will personalize a tasting menu for you. And I will
Oh, that's
pair
nice.
each course,
Yeah.
Of course.
with a beverage that goes with I'm serving. And I said, just do it. I'm leaving myself in your hands. And it
Yes.
was honestly one of the best dining experiences
Wow.
I've ever
Unforgettable.
had.
See,
He
you're talking
knew-
about it now.
He
Yeah.
knew exactly what he was
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what
That's very
makes a
nice.
restaurant stand out? It's consistency. Why do I
Yes.
keep going to that same restaurant over and over again? Because he still delivers that same dish with the same flavor, same warmth, just like our moms used to do. You know, you prepare the food and you come back home, even though it might be a little bit less salty or a little bit more sugar or whatever. But she's
The
mom at the end of the day. Yeah.
consistency,
But in a
yes.
restaurant, fine dining, it's consistency, and thankfully, here in Dubai, we experience that. We have that here. And restaurants really, all the Michelin star winning restaurants and Michelin star chefs, they're beyond good for us to actually try their food. I love a lot of certain restaurants that I tend to go to every other weekend. Also, for instance, sushi has become a great trend for majority of the people around.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is it really the real sushi that we should be eating? Because sushi is a little bit more on the raw side. It's not like crispy or filled with rice and
Yes,
ginger and all that stuff. That's again a truth
know.
hidden.
So I'm glad you touch on this because you've mentioned fine dining consistency.
Yeah.
I'm a great believer of, having that consistent taste every time you go back to that particular restaurant.
Yes.
That's the reason I love going back to Ravi. Am I allowed to say that?
God. All right. Some marketing happening right here.
I know. Hi, Ravi. Discount. I know. It's affordable.
25%, please.
Yes, I know. It's consistent. Every time you go there,
Yes.
whether you had it a year or 2 years ago, you
Still
go
get
there
that
and you still have the same
flavor, yeah.
lamb chops or your butter chicken.
Oh my God.
Yes, and it's very nostalgic because
is.
now when I go to other restaurants serving the same food, because I had a really good experience with Ravi taste-wise.
You
I
just
always compare now. It's
you,
not as
you
good as
benchmark
Ravi.
Ravi against everyone
Yeah,
else,
benchmark. That's the word.
See, I always used to laugh with my father when my parents used to live in Dubai, and there was a couple of little really local, mid to lower class places, and he loved to go there. And the joke was, you never know what you're going to get. It's literally potluck dinner. You could literally order the same item off the menu, and you get a different version every
Yes, not
single
necessarily
time.
the same. You're right.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah.
Consistency is the key.
But it's
Yeah.
crazy how this evolved across time.
Yes.
Like from back then to now,
Yeah.
the dining experience is totally different. And the amount of cuisines, you don't know what to eat today. Every day you're just confused. Even with the cloud kitchens and operating in Dubai, the amount of menus when you open a Talabat or a Deliveroo app or something, you go like, what will I eat today? You just go,
There's
you're
so
so
much-
confused.
Yes, a lot
There's
of
50%
choices.
here, 20% here. That's Lebanese, that's Egyptian. I want to eat sushi, but no, wait, 1 second, I want to eat fried chicken and pizzas. There are like hundreds of restaurants and
Eat around the world.
yeah, it's
So
insane.
breakfast you have a certain
Exactly.
big
You wanna eat
cuisine,
pokai
lunch, and
or
then
I don't know what, and you go like at the end of the day, oh wow.
But do you guys think, because now we have a plethora of options, we have so many options,
I like the word plethora. Yeah.
that this is why in a lot of cases manners and etiquette have gone downhill, because people haven't had the experience in certain eateries to be able to behave and order and everything in a
Correct.
certain way.
I totally agree with you on that. Because, come on, you're ordering food, you're at home, you're sitting with the family, so you just open the bags and whatever, watching TV or Netflixing, and you just take the burger, and there's no respect. Now, one of the main things that we all lack, we used to have that growing up with the family, is that we all sit on one table.
eating together.
Yeah, eating
That's
together.
right.
And then we eat with the same pace. So the
Yes.
same time, we all eat. And this is the same thing in the etiquette of any fine dining
Yes.
experience. We all eat together at the same time because we'll finish eating and chatting and everything at the same time. That's when we are all ready to leave the table for other customers to come in. Because everyone coming in, when the restaurant manager sees these particular customers coming in, he knows they will be sitting here for 1 hour or half an hour, or depending on their business attire or whatever it is,
Yeah.
or a family. So there's a certain time allocated for each and every table. So
Yeah.
this, unfortunately, nowadays cannot be read. You cannot really tell. Some people can sit for hours, but dude, you had your food. Why are you still sitting here? There are other customers coming in.
And on that, no, it's on that line as well. Just because I used to do silver service waitressing. I used to launch potatoes in people's laps most of the time. I wasn't very good at it, but we were always taught, and it's the thing that drives me up the wall here. You do not clear the table until everyone
Everyone's-
has
Yeah.
finished.
No one understands that now. No
And
one
I'm
does
like,
that.
Yeah.
it's rude to
Yeah.
come
You just
to come
come
and
in,
do
and
it.
there's still food in the table.
I'm like, hello. I'm
I'm
eating it
still
and taking it away.
It's like, oh, sorry, and he puts it back, and he comes from the right side, and the left side. Again, that's another understanding or misunderstanding, like you highlighted before we started the discussion. It's there's an etiquette to it. People,
Yeah.
when they're serving, they should come from the left side. Unless you're left-handed, and maybe I don't know, but if you're like the majority, you serve from the left side. Everything
Yes.
is done from the left side,
Left,
like you
yes.
correctly highlighted, Orchid. So these things or these aspects are not, unfortunately, even there in schools. That's not taught to students. It's not taught to our kids. So they lack that. I try to emphasize on these things every once in a while when we go fine dining with the family. But again, it's not something that is there on the billboards and like what would attract
Yeah.
kids' mind to do. So unfortunately, I believe this is a very important topic. That's why we're here today to discuss this particular point. Etiquette in fine dining, not necessarily fine dining, but even if you're dining at home with your
Yes,
family, with your
absolutely.
parents,
Yes.
sitting together, discussing things, leaving your phone out of it. No one,
Yeah.
everyone's holding their phone. That's another
At
topic
dining.
as well. Yeah.
True.
You're like checking your whatever you're checking, and no one's talking to each other.
Yeah.
I love
know?
these places that
Yes.
they have a box by the side of the table, and they say everyone puts their phone in,
Yes.
and if you manage to not touch your phone, you get like 20% off your bill.
No way. Where's that?
Some places are doing that
That's
now,
very
or they're
good.
like,
Encouraging,
if
yeah.
you touch your phone, or there's a
You're
a
gonna
rule
pay
in
the
school,
full-
Yeah.
whoever touched their phone, then you
You
pay the
full
bill.
bill. Yeah, I love it. That's a nice
Yes.
concept, by the
Yeah.
way.
Chef, I really love the fact that you said that, families should be eating together. But I can also empathize to those parents who are both working.
Yes.
Like now we're actually recording
Yeah, exactly.
nighttime.
Yeah.
In the olden days, at this time, I was actually
At
with my mom
home,
and dad
yeah, exactly.
eating
Chilling
at
and
home.
eating,
So
yeah.
I'm not saying that, we should be home and eating together because, we have to make a living. But in my opinion, at least during the weekend, try to make it, as a family
Absolutely.
thing
Yeah.
to eat together,
Together, yes.
because this is one thing that kids will remember.
Even if it's one meal, absolutely,
Yes,
you're right.
yeah,
You're absolutely
yeah.
right. Yeah.
And you can actually, during this time, you can actually see if your kids are eating the correct way.
Yes.
Are they?
I echo that. Yeah, opening their
Yes,
mouth and
yeah.
eating in a vulgar
Because
way.
who can correct them? You
Yeah.
cannot say, the nanny would correct
Exactly,
them. Yeah.
exactly.
So as a parent, it's also a good way to check on your kids
You're
with their table
absolutely
manners.
right. That
So-
triggered something that I also find a hard time trying to get around it is when someone dislikes a food or you're in a restaurant and you're eating a certain dish and you did not like that particular whatever thing that you were eating. So people here, they behave in a very weird way. They start yelling and shouting and they call the waiter, "What is this? Your chef doesn't know what he's doing." But dude, you didn't like it because maybe it's a little bit overcooked or it's a medium rare or a medium well, not like the way you like it because you did not instruct your waiter properly. But this should be done in a very polite way. Just put your hands down and say, "Can I speak to you just properly in a very
Yes.
quiet manner? I didn't really like that dish, can you just change it or see if anything else that can be done?" But on the other side, people react in a very vulgar way, and
Yeah.
they start yelling and causing a scene. And people go like, "What is wrong with this guy? Why is
Yeah.
he shouting? Again, because it
Absolutely.
touches your gut and gut nutrition, not necessarily, but again, it's your heart, pretty much.
Yeah.
Your gut controls everything in your body. So with a good mood, when you eat a chocolate, you get that because
Yes.
you ate a chocolate that makes you happy. But there are certain dishes that you eat, it just reverses your mind, and you go like, "What am I eating?" And you start going mad. So again, it's what you put in your mouth. But what I want to throw at from the reason why I mentioned that is, whatever you do, you'll be it will be retaliated back to you. So you are what you want the people to react back to you. And there's a saying to it. I don't know what exactly it is, but that's how it is. But people don't see it.
Yeah. Okay, let me put it this
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
If you annoy the wait staff and the kitchen staff, these are the people that are preparing your,
Your
food.
food.
Yes.
You might not like what you get
yes,
when it comes back. Just saying. I've heard horror stories.
Yes, plenty of
I
those.
know.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's crazy
I
what
had-
people do in the kitchen.
I'm going to share my personal experience. What I can see when I was working as a flight attendant before.
All right.
So if the customer or the passenger is being rude to the cabin crew, we actually try to delay even more in his booking.
He deserves that. Yes.
Yeah. Someone who's so demanding, every 5 minutes he wants the
annoying.
crew. Yes. again,
But
yes,
is this
you are
the right
important
way to
customer.
react?
I know. Yes. I don't recommend it.
I'd feel
but
the same.
Human nature.
Yes.
Human nature.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned about retaliating.
Yes.
Because if you're nice to people,
You'll get that
you'll have-
positive
yes.
energy back.
There's a book, right? The Law of Attraction.
Absolutely.
If you,
Yes, yes.
If you attract goodness and patience and consideration, people will do the same thing to you.
Absolutely. It's amazing. I read this book for Lynn McTaggart. She was talking about the same topic where you give positive energy, for instance, for an icing, a cup of water during its icing process. If you give positive energy, you see a very proper sequence of icing. But if you give negative thoughts, there's no academic proof of that.
Oh, it's
by
the
way.
ice crystals.
Yes, it becomes
Yeah.
chaotic, and it's crazy. But it's true, but there's no academic studies of how this really evolves around our life. But it is what it is, I guess.
But also,
Yeah.
people have to remember that, wait staff and kitchen staff and everyone down to the dishwasher and everything, they're there for hours and hours
Exactly.
and hours on end every single day. And it's a really tough job to do, and it's really hard to deal with some customers sometimes. So anything you can do to be pleasant, to be nice, to make their life a little bit easier, there's no need to be mean to them.
Exactly.
basically.
At least they're welcoming you with a smile. So why would you go in grumpy and not happy about anything? People are welcoming you. How would you react to that?
Yeah.
So you should also be welcoming. You're going to try good food, a dining experience. But people neglect that. Whatever personal issues anyone might have, they don't really see it that way. And
Yeah.
this affects also the waiter when he's serving food for you. It's
Yeah.
like, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
And you witness that a lot. But then again, another topic you mentioned was the overeating or the placement
yes.
of
Brunches and
things
and
like
just putting a lot of
So
food in your plate.
we
and just-
finished talking about the side of the hospitality staff or the server. So we'll
Let's
talk
talk
about
about the
the
customers.
customer side. So Emma, can you share with? I'll start with you.
Go
Can
on.
you share with us your pet peeves?
It's normally people chewing with their mouth open. It's so rude. And then there are people that start talking and they still have food in their mouth. It's horrible. It's not nice. We should chew with our mouths closed. And it's normally people that they've put too much food on their fork. They've put too much food in their mouth instead of small bits. And then the people that use their fork like a shovel.
Yes, I hate that. And the sound they make on the plate, is as if they're digging inside the plate to get the food out. I hate that.
It should be like
ridiculous.
dainty and nice, not like eating like you're starving, basically.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I echo the same thing. I just dislike how people tend to react and disregard everyone else on the table. He's like sitting on his own. You're not at home. Even if you're at home, that's not the way you should be eating. You should be polite, proper, and eat in a very calm way. Not mess people's thoughts around you. Even if
Yeah.
you're opening a discussion, because we go into a lot of business meetings and fine dining. It involves a lot of talking when you're talking on a business topic or you're trying to close a deal with a certain client or customer. So there's a lot of talking. But then you get these fine dining dishes and you're like dying to eat it. I just want to have a taste of it. And you're hungry at the same time, but you're talking. So you go like, please, sir, go ahead, have a bite, try this dish.
Yes.
It's highly recommended and we come here all the time. So please go ahead. One of my favorite ones, actually it's a dessert, was pistachio ice cream with olive oil on top.
Oh, yes, I think I've
interesting.
tried that.
That's
yes.
very unique. I don't know,
Olive
I
oil
don't know
and
if I can
ice
tell
cream.
the name of the
Yeah.
restaurant, but again, it's one of those most fascinating desserts I've ever tried in my life. That's extra virgin olive oil. So I tend to, when we take our customers to that particular restaurant and we tell them, please try it, they go crazy. It kind of shifts the entire mood to a confirmation. There we go, we got the business.
Yeah.
That's how good
That's
that particular dessert is. Again, it depends on how you perceive that particular restaurant
Yeah.
in a positive way when you're promoting it to your friends and clients, because why do you want to go to that restaurant or why do you want to go to that particular place, But again, coming back to the fact of what would bother me
Pet peeves.
the pet peeves would be, I don't know.
Your one greatest pet peeve.
Well, it is nothing, to be honest,
Yeah.
in particular. But I mean, because when you have kids around and, you're just trying to make sure that everyone's calm and, we're trying to
Okay.
enjoy the
Yeah.
experience. it's hard to control that, you know.
All right. For me, I actually have one, and I would not say that it's cultural. I think globally, this is the norm. Well, people actually consider it rude. Eating before the host, or not just a host. Let's say, for example, I'm preparing the meal. So I'm busy plating, putting everything. And even my daughter, when she starts eating, like, Mayumi, I'm not eating yet. I haven't seated yet.
Yeah,
Just wait.
wait.
That's my one greatest pet peeve.
Yeah.
So even in brunches, I know you're with your friends, you go out, but I always try to, wait for other people. If I'm the only one seated, because I already got my food, I always wait for my friends
Exactly.
to arrive. I
Yeah.
think it's polite and
Yeah.
not just start eating. Like, I know you're hungry.
No, but you're
try
absolutely
to-
right. That's very
yeah.
important. And that's how I grew up back at home. I do not start eating until everyone
Yeah.
is on the
Seated,
table,
yeah.
even the father, the mother, or my in-laws or whatever. So until we're all seated, then we start. Unless I tell them, listen, guys, I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I can wait for you guys.
If
Sorry.
there's still a lot of preparation,
You're on your own,
But also from
Yeah.
the service side of thing with eateries, this is why timing is so important for eateries.
Yes.
And sometimes, they will ask you, do you want everything brought together, or do you
Yes.
just want it brought out as it's ready?
it's
Because
warm.
otherwise
Yeah.
you have one person that everyone else has got their food, and there's one person that's sat there like,
Yeah.
well, no, fine, you just carry on. I'll just wait.
But by the way, it's very common now. A lot of restaurants tend to do that. They ask you if you want the food. But then even if I say yes, I feel it's rude for everyone else,
Yeah.
that I'm eating, but his dish is not yet ready. So again, it depends on how well equipped the kitchen is to actually serve the entire table at the same time,
Yeah.
It differs again because fine dining, every dish has its own preparations, its own arrangements and all. Not like when you're just ordering a burger from any outlet,
Yeah.
It's just a burger, there you go, But again, it's
So-
something different.
Thank you for sharing with that. And I have another question for you because we are in the Middle East and not everyone, drinks alcohol.
Correct.
What is your take on people on the table, or you get invited to a dinner party and there are people there who are conservative, who's not drinking, and people here are drinking. What is your take on that? Is that appropriate, or it's now welcome in the UAE? I know now it's evolved
Yeah.
that a lot of restaurants now are
Serving, yeah.
alcohol, and people tend to become more accepting in a way. But do you have any friends who are very conservative or get upset with that? Like they go to a dinner party, or they already expect that some people would be drinking?
Well, they'll know that this particular restaurant that they're going to serves alcohol, and they know that some of the colleagues would be drinking, others not. So at corporate events, it happens a lot. So whoever tends to not drink, or actually not drink alcohol at all, they just take a side, and, with respect to everyone else, and whoever wants to drink will drink, Again, because it's a mood thing, I guess, and people tend to sort of, they want to break out of the day, all the, negative energy shifted to positive energy. So some take a drink, have a laugh, and stuff like that. So some people would accept, but your point is extremely valid because it, again, depends from culture to culture,
Yeah.
also without really tapping into religion. But again, some people would tell you, listen, I'd never actually even bother to go to that restaurant because they serve alcohol. I wouldn't really want to go there, But other people don't mind, so they just go sit, just stay distant from
Yeah.
the people who are drinking alcohol or whatever. But then that evening just goes on, and
Yeah.
they go back home and whatever discussions took
Yeah.
place. So it is a nice topic to touch
Yeah.
on because not all people speak about it.
True. The reason why I ask this, because it's also for the benefit of anyone out there who plans to move here to Dubai.
Yeah.
Because every time you tell them you live in the Middle East, they immediately say, "Oh, there's no alcohol. Oh, like, it's so strict. You have to cover your hair." Oh,
Yes,
so I
yes,
have
they have
friends
this-
who live in the States and like, "Oh, so where do you get your wine?"
So the perception is
yes,
totally
because
different,
they generalize everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for the benefit of everyone listening to us or watching us, that yes, they
And we have a
you
lot
can
of
have your
American
wine.
food here as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, not all restaurants serve alcohol,
Yeah.
so they call it licensed places, mostly in
Correct.
hotels, or there are restaurants there that they are licensed to serve alcohol.
Exactly.
So
Yes. A lot of restaurants recently here in Dubai, especially, they've put a ban for kids under the age of 16 or age of 15, something like that. So you cannot really take your kids anywhere because you still want to enjoy the experience.
Yes.
And it's not a cheap experience. You're paying money for that, you know.
Absolutely.
So this comes with pleasure and time, you know, and you spending your time there with your loved ones for a certain reason. Kids will have another area because they will not even enjoy their time there. But again, there are many projects that would sort of help bring all the family together. Maybe I want to have that fine dining experience with my wife, but then I want the kids next to me. So why not sort of design, I don't know, like a playground or some sort of nursery? And there are restaurants in Dubai that actually do that. And it tends to be like a more of an open playground area, especially when the weather gets nice.
yeah.
And you just leave the kids there. They're safe and secure, and you're enjoying your meal, having a good time with your loved ones, and that's it. And you just go back home, you know. So this equates to a lot of joy when it comes to the fine dining experience as well. Again, not all people would actually
Yes.
look at that with
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
busy daily
Yes.
life, you
Yeah.
know. And here in Dubai, it's not easy, you know.
True. Agree. Culinary. So we spoke about fusion,
Yes,
how the dishes here has evolved.
correct.
Not
yeah.
just the Emirati cuisine, but
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
food around the world. They
absolutely.
now,
It's
crazy about
crazy how-
fusion, incorporating other
Ingredients and
cooking
cooking
techniques, yes,
techniques
and
and-
the ingredients.
It's fascinating.
So, my question for you is, actually, is here from one of our Facebook follower. Could you share your insight into how the Emirati cuisine has evolved and adopted to the diverse culinary landscape of the country?
That's a very good question. Yeah. Well, to be honest, Emirati cuisine is still as genuine as it was back in the time.
Wow.
It's still keeping its original taste, its original look, and even the smell and scent of it. You know, if you go to any of these Emirati houses, I have a lot of Emirati friends, lovely people, and they have this unique kitchen set up for designing these particular dishes, you know, and the rice pots and the big way they cook the chicken and the soup and everything and how they mix it together. So this genuine experience is still there. How it evolved into the fine dining arena is that they kind of replicated how sort of things are presented in a very meticulous, you know, very, less space, colorful way with the same taste. But again, at the end of the day, it's the same original dish that you'd actually try. But on the other hand, if you look, for instance, at a very famous Indian dish that I personally love is the pani puris, you know, those tiny pani puris.
Yes.
But again, this has evolved a lot in fine dining because, you know, you get that tiny pani puri with a little bit of courgettes and certain designs and colors on top of it, and it looks really delicious. You just
Yes.
want to take a picture with
Yeah,
it. You don't want to
yeah.
eat it. You know?
You don't want to eat it. Yes, yeah.
So
yeah.
you know, people have actually done a lot when they're presenting their dishes and food and different cuisines, and I believe it's a great success, especially for today's world and how things are moving, to be able to cope with that. You know, just like fashion, just like technology, just like hospitality,
Yeah.
this culinary experience is a great school, and especially also when it comes to desserts. It's a
Yes.
whole different thing when it
Level
comes to
up,
the
yeah.
fusions you get into desserts. I, for instance, I never knew what ras malai in Indian was until I figured out that there's a lot of mango involved in it, you know, and
Oh.
I love mango. So again, different types of mango. I love the South African mango because it's a lot sweeter than different mangoes. So how they incorporate these certain types of ingredients together to deliver that fine dessert that you will never forget, you know, like, why did I like that dish, you know? And the same applies to many other things. And even though I'm Egyptian, but there's a lot of Egyptian food that I don't like, you know. And I'm sure when you go back home, there are certain dishes that you're really in favor of, but then
Yeah.
others go like, how whoever invented that particular dish do it, you know?
Yeah.
And
I love kushari.
Oh, no way.
So,
I can't say no to that.
Yeah. Can't wait to
Yeah,
taste your
kushari
kushari.
is delicious, you know. and
Love it.
falafel and all these things. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Is there a
crazy good.
tom and basal here?
Tom and basil, wow! Right.
I love it when I went to Cairo.
It's
Yes,
onion and
I
garlic,
love-
yeah. Tom and basil, nice.
So tom and basal is yes, onion and garlic
Onion and
in
garlic.
Arabic. Yeah, and they serve the best kushari.
Yeah,
But-
it's loaded though.
But as like the culinary experience has expanded here in the UAE, kitchens have got more complicated.
Yes.
Because we have halal.
Yes.
Then we have obviously pork service, alcohol service. Now we have kosher as well.
Absolutely.
And we have vegan as well. So kitchens got complicated.
Correct, it is. It is.
So how how do they juggle all this? And for the wait staff, they've got to know everything so that the
True.
wrong thing isn't served to the wrong customer, because obviously it could
But
cause
you
a
can-
complete disaster.
You know, you're absolutely right, Emma. You know, how these cuisines have evolved now, there's a huge and massive burden on the FCA, the Food Control Authority, to make sure, because every single cuisine has its own kitchen setup.
Yeah.
You know, and every kitchen setup, you know, if it's a seafood section, they have their own fridges. If it's a pastry section, like you mentioned, the pork, the other halal, non-halal. So all these things has its own setup, and it has to be met by the same criteria that the Food Control Authority has put in place. If there's a tiny misplacement of any of these criterias, there's a fine. And people here do not joke, because you cannot, at the end of the day, poison a customer or a client because you've misplaced a certain ingredient with another one. So everything has to be carefully done. The number of suppliers that work in that industry is insane. It's insane. You cannot imagine, for each and every single thing, there's a supplier. In that particular one fine dish that you got, just the sauce alone
Yeah.
is a supplier. That meat alone is a supplier. It's everything. The Wagyus now is a huge coming
Business.
into the
Yeah.
industry here. You know, you got this Wagyu A5 and this, I don't know, Wagyu what with the ramen, and you want to do that with that. So it's massive, you know, to
Yeah.
get all these different cuisines and cultural food imposed into the market. Even in supermarkets, when you go and buy a vegan burger, and because, you know, hey, I want a vegan burger, but did you try that vegan burger? Do you know how it tastes like? No, I just want to try that vegan burger, you know. And you go buy it, and it's expensive. I have a friend who's actually a food engineer.
Yeah.
They're actually designing a vegan egg. So the egg is going to be a vegan egg with its
yes.
yolk and its white. You know, I'm like, dude, how is that even possible? You know,
Yeah.
they're working on it. You know, because for the vegan industry, because the vegan community is growing insanely in the world, and it has its pros and cons. But again, a lot of people are going like, listen, we should make the best of it out of this industry, the vegan industry. You know, you want a pizza, I'll give you a vegan pizza. You want an egg, a burger, whatever it is. You even want a tenderloin steak that's vegan, I'll give you a tenderloin steak that's vegan. And it's happening.
Yeah.
But
You
those,
know?
but those, not, you've got that all to contend with, but then you've got the rise in allergies, nut allergies,
Yes.
dairy allergies, gluten allergies. You know,
Exactly.
it's a minefield when it
Crazy.
comes
Which,
to
which
dining.
gave me the question now, because since we are in the topic of preparing food, how it's prepared, what do you think? Give me 10 or yes, let's talk about 10. 10 duties of a great host. So we're still in line with the
Yeah.
etiquette.
Absolutely.
So being a
Yeah, you're
host,
right.
let's talk about
Number
being
one
a-
is
yeah.
honesty. A host has to be very honest on what they're serving. You know, and by the way, I got this meat from this particular place, and these are accredited. I have my certificates. You know, so you build that first line of trust with your customers. So it's like, I like this guy, this chef, because usually chefs don't really say the truth. They don't really
Yeah.
tell you how I made this dish or how I arrived to this particular dish.
Yeah.
But I even keep telling my mom and dad in many ways. I tell them, do you want to know how I prepared this dish? My dad says no, I'm happy with
Okay,
it.
yeah.
And my mom was like, yeah, I'm kind of interested to find out. Then when I start talking about the things that I put and how I prepared it, actually some people get a little bit offended or like disgusted or something, you know, like why how did you do that? Why did you place this there? Or like one of my recent videos was this autumn leaf. That's a very fine dining sort of autumn leaf, but it's made out of what? Beetroot. So I actually
Nice.
made that tiny biscuit, very elegant biscuit that you place on any savory or dessert, just
Yeah.
like a leaf. And you just put that leaf on top, and it's a biscuit. and then you taste it. It's so delicious. You cannot relate that it's a beetroot, but it's red enough to tell you, hey, I'm a beetroot.
Okay.
You can
Yeah,
try
yeah,
it.
you can try it. So
Yeah.
you're talking from a chef point of view. So me as a house cook or someone who's hosting a dinner party at home. So you said honesty, meaning so
Exactly.
I have to basically tell my guests perhaps what will be the theme of the night. So they
Yes.
will be expecting what to
Exactly.
eat. So if I'm having an Asian party tonight, so my guests will expect to have dim sum or
Yes,
rice, fried
exactly.
rice, yes. And for me as well, being a great host is to also ask your guests if they have food allergies or
yes.
any dietary requirements.
100%.
Yeah, so
100%.
they might not be allergic to vegetable, but the religion says that they cannot eat that, so they can only eat veg.
Which
for
falls
example,
under
yeah.
consideration. I have to be very
Again, yeah.
considerate to the type of audience and clients or customers that are coming in to try your food. You have to be fair enough, knowing that, listen, I know my brother likes the meat medium rare, but my other brother likes them medium well or well done. So you can't always meet the tastes of everyone, but you try to come to an equilibrium or a certain place where everyone would actually like them, because no one can go wrong on a pizza. It's just a pizza. But then, as you know, certain dishes would actually talk differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, as a great host, you need to send the invite at least 2 weeks in advance,
Okay.
not on the last minute.
Yeah, please come now.
Yes, yeah, no. Also, consider the time. So when you're hosting dinner at home, consider the traffic on that
Yeah,
day. If it's a
yes,
weekend, consider where are your friends living and how long will it take them to reach your home.
Correct.
That's also another consideration. And anything else do you want to share? So I have already 4 that I can think of
Emma, do you have
Another-
anything in mind?
as a host.
Or just if you're a guest, take something for your host. Ask them if they need you to bring anything. Don't show up
Smart.
empty-handed.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so that's for the guest, the
Yes.
duties of a guest. Another thing that I just thought now is don't start cleaning or clearing up while your guest is still in your house.
Yeah, because this is
'Cause you might
offending.
get-
They're
yes.
like, they want us to leave or something like that.
Yes, you might be carried
You're
away.
right.
Oh no, I want to,
Yeah.
start
So
washing.
I can sit with you guys, freely and all, but
Yes.
it's crazy.
So,
yeah. You're
Sometimes you
absolutely
can't
right.
help it because, oh my God, it's already 11 o'clock. I
I
need
just
to
need to
start
clean up
packing
very
up.
quickly and pack.
Unless you
And
want them
just-
to leave,
Yeah.
then start doing it.
Yes, yeah. How about for the guests? What do you think are the duties of a guest?
Show up on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. Good thing that you mentioned that the first thing, because everything in life we have to show up early, or on time. But it's during dinner. Actually, you are not expected to arrive on time.
True.
So in a
yes.
lot of culture, well, especially in Europe, they would expect that you would be late 5 or 10 minutes
Wow.
to give the host the last minute, the chance to get ready because he's busy or she's busy preparing food for a few hours, and don't show up early
exactly.
or don't show on the dot.
That's in their
Give
favor,
a few
yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
So even like in Dutch culture, I believe, or German culture, where they're always on time, they arrive at their friend's place on time, but they don't actually ring the bell. They wait a couple of minutes in their
Wow.
car
How respectful.
to make time and not like on the dot.
I hear they
Yes,
rush
that's
into
what
the
I've heard.
kitchen. They rush. Let me try that. What are you doing?
Yes, I know,
No
yeah,
respect
yes.
whatsoever. But it's, I think, a family thing. And here, a lot of people when they come, you're just loaded with desserts and all these things. I'm like, who's gonna eat this kunafa or baklawa or whatever it is, and cakes and minis here and there. So like, that's too much. You start giving away things, even when
Yeah.
the guests are leaving. Like, please take this with you. No one's gonna eat that,
Yes.
But this is something that is common now. But again, it talks about food waste, which is
Yes.
another very big topic that should
Yeah.
be discussed separately. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And talk. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
So on that front, you're talking about taking things away at the end. When guests show up, should you give? Because you don't want them to fill up on snacks before the
no.
meal.
Absolutely not.
So no snacks or small snacks.
There's something more like a welcoming snack.
Yeah.
That shouldn't really mess
Like a
with their
small
appetite.
canapé
Yeah,
or
exactly.
a crudité.
Yeah, just not to
Crudité,
mess
yeah.
with their appetite. But again, people differ. Some people go like, no, I'm full already, or you know what, I'll try it, and they actually go beyond what you'd expect.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But it's
Yes.
here and there,
I want to touch on, because you mentioned about gift when you show up at a friend's dinner party. So gifting is also a big thing
Yes.
here in the Middle East.
Correct.
Yes.
Whenever you're invited, or even during Ramadan, you
Yes.
get invited to an iftar, you must bring something.
Yeah, it's natural. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say, well, based on my knowledge, you shouldn't buy something very, very expensive.
True.
Yeah. So maybe ranges 100 to 150
Yeah, not
dirham.
fancy. Exactly.
Yes, because you don't want to embarrass the
Yes.
other guest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Because they'll have to pay you back.
she bought this, fancy, I don't know,
Yeah.
like a big bouquet,
Chocolate
and then
bouquet or something.
and then
like-
I didn't, I only bought, I don't know, like a small box of chocolate. Yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
to make them feel uncomfortable. So have this. Maybe a
Must
great
be
gift would be a small
reasonable.
yes,
Yes,
a box of
absolutely,
dates,
yeah.
a box of chocolate, or if that you actually have to know as well what your friend is interested in or what he or she likes. Maybe she likes candles,
Correct.
Yeah.
so that's also a good present or gift
It's
to
a
bring.
lovely gesture. But in the culture here in Dubai, it's more on the branded side. So there are branded chocolates. So these come with a price versus the traditional chocolate stores that you can buy chocolate from. It kind of gives a representation of who you are when you're going into that particular crowd in Ramadan to actually gift that chocolate box
Yeah.
to that particular host. It means something, and talking about, again, the payback, it's not something really that people look at here anymore, because he knows his value in that particular community or that particular crowd. See, there's a lot of fusion around this particular
Yes.
topic, but
Yeah.
in a simple layman way, people should respect each other
Yeah.
in whatever possible way they do.
And also, someone asked me, like, if a friend brought a bottle of wine and the wine is really, really good, so that bottle of wine, should I offer it to the rest of the guests?
keep
Or
it
should
to
yeah. Yes, I would say yes. So this bottle of wine should be enjoyed with you and your wife in another occasion.
Yes. Yes.
So, as a guest, I shouldn't be telling those, oh wow, we can, we can start.
try.
You're putting the host in a
Embarrassing.
awkward,
An awkward
situation
situation.
where
Absolutely.
actually no, I want to enjoy this on my own.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
So that's also one way to remember as a guest.
Correct.
Another thing also that I can think of is to offer to help.
Yes.
So don't
Yes.
expect your host to, clear.
Do
Offer,
everything.
take your
Plate
dishes.
the dish,
To
exactly.
the,
dishwasher or
to
whatever
the dishwasher
it is, and help others.
Yeah, or ask your
clean,
host, like, would you like me to assist you with anything else? But at least the bare minimum is to take your plate.
This is lacked. It's not even there anymore. Not with old people, especially with the new generations.
Because we have house help at home.
Exactly.
And
You
they
try to
expect
build that
that,
up.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But that's how we were raised. You're done with your plate. You take it to the kitchen. And you're like, thank you, mom. Thank you, dad, and you just keep it
Yeah,
there. Where you
true.
can wash it yourself or help in any possible way. But then again, we get spoiled. Everyone gets spoiled. So you neglect that particular aspect of cleaning around or taking care. Even if you drop food on the floor, I go crazy. I just tend to first
Yeah.
clean the floor and then go back to my dish,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. But people
Yes.
don't do that anymore.
Even in, like, when you go to a food court, people can't even pick up their tray, put their leftovers or the rubbish in the bin, and then
It's right
dock
there.
the tray.
Yeah.
It's
It's right
literally
next to
there.
them, yeah.
It's a pick it up, shove that in there, stick the
Yeah.
tray on top.
Yeah.
It's a 2-minute job, and you're saving the servers, the cleaners, whatever, helping them. And it's just like, I think so many people become a little bit
You
entitled.
know, what do you think should be done around this? Should we put like a note on everyone's table?
Clean as you
Please,
go.
Yeah, please take the tray or
Well,
pick the tray, something like that.
In a certain Swedish store, there are no cleaners, and they specifically say there is no one to take your tray. You
Yes.
have to do it
They
yourself.
actually have this metal
Self-service.
cart
Yeah.
where you can stuck your,
Yeah, there's
your
no one to
dirty
do it.
trays.
Exactly.
Yes.
You have to do it yourself. You
Yeah.
have to, because
Good.
there's no one
Yes.
to do it for you.
Then going back again to being a host, one thing that I remember now is be mindful of the time.
Yes.
I know you're having fun, but your host also needs to rest.
Rest, exactly. You're absolutely
So
right.
in
No.
in your
Seriously.
culture, what time do you guys think like, right, it's time to pack up, or
3
Cinderella?
a.m., maybe 3 a.m.
Oh, wow. 3 a.m. That's a
I'm
long
just kidding.
time.
Yeah,
no?
but yeah, people, because it's family and all, so people tend to neglect time when we're sitting together over weekends. I personally, I can fall asleep just in front of everyone.
Wow.
And my wife tells me you're blessed to actually have that.
That's not good.
Yeah, blessing.
Yeah,
I'm
but I
just
think
falling
it's
asleep.
very important to be mindful. Like if you see that your host is already
Yeah.
feeling tired.
Tired, yeah,
So
you
yeah,
just
be
have to,
sensitive. Say,
yeah.
okay, it's time for me to leave. And
Absolutely,
yeah,
yeah,
that's it,
time to rest.
Yeah.
You know, time is also very important when we're preparing as a guest the food for the people coming in. There's a lot of technology that restaurants tend to use, these high-end ovens and fridges that freeze things in seconds. So I learned that when I was studying culinary, and this unfortunately is not available with our conventional instruments that we use at home, from ovens to whatever mixers and all. But with time, I got introduced to certain home machines and instruments that you can actually own and use at home that would eliminate the use of any oven or any mixer or anything else that you need. And for instance, if you sous vide, I love sous videing food. So if you sous vide, which is slow cooking a food at a certain temperature for a long period of time, if you sous vide the food for 1 hour and a half, this particular instrument can do it for 20 minutes or 10 minutes.
Wow.
And you can still serve that dish warm to your guests, So this technology happening that not everyone's aware of is going to change the way people cook and eat and behave towards cooking, because it's massive. And unfortunately, not all people know what it is. Just recently, my mom came to me. She's like, Ahmed, I know we were not happy about the recent purchases that you did last year and the year before, but today we understand why you did that. So I also evolve with time when you're cooking. You learn new things. You get introduced to new recipes, new ingredients, and understanding new ways and methodologies of preparing dishes. So this delivers a different message to how everyone evolves in their particular field or industry. So it's fascinating. It's beautiful, to be honest. Yeah.
Good. And lastly, don't start eating until your host
It's sat down and ready to
That
go.
will be my final reminder or tip.
I'll make sure I do that. Yeah.
Don't start eating
Yeah.
while your host is still setting the table.
I'll be sending you videos,
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
So,
Amazing stuff.
lovely conversation.
I just
Absolutely.
have one final one
Sure.
final thing that I want to ask before we wrap up.
Sure.
Because it's an important one, and it's one that always causes discussion when you're out and about dining. Tipping.
Oh,
Tipping etiquette.
yes.
Because here's the problem: a lot of the places that come under the tourism industry, the service charge is included on the bill.
Already is.
So people think, I don't need to tip, but we can't guarantee the servers and the staff are going to
Exactly.
get that tip. So do we still? Because if you go to the US, they have the great right. It's like
It's like,
15%, 20%, 30, whatever.
Yeah.
And you tick how
Yeah.
much
Correct.
you want to
Yeah.
have for your tip. And if you give the lowest one, you'll get a death stare.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how much my service was to you. But tipping, is it better? Is
It
it better to give them
evolves.
cash? I always feel happier giving the
cash
staff.
because it's
I
going
get
to their
it then,
pocket,
yeah.
But now with the introduction of new softwares and systems like QR codes and you paying your bill actually using a QR code, there's a section where you can tip 2%, 5%, 7%, 10%, and it goes directly to that because on the system it's registered that this particular waiter is serving this table
Yeah.
number so and so. So this will go directly to that member.
Oh, that's good to
Now-
know because I thought that it will just go to a
Pot.
pot. Yeah, they call it pot,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the month they all share the tip.
No,
But
no,
if
it's
that's a good
in
one
fine dining.
to-
Yeah, it's so I know Ahmed. I'm serving these 5 tables in the restaurant
Mm-hmm.
this evening. So whoever comes in and whatever tips I get,
Who's-
that's for
yes,
me. You know.
the-
So these are agreed with the restaurant managers and all. There's a lot of things around that particular topic. But
That's
again,
good.
it
Yeah.
evolved in a very positive way. You know,
Yeah.
back in the days, you just put
Yeah.
5 dirhams or 10 or 15. You say, "Thank you so much for the service."
I
you know.
like that. I like that they actually do that.
Yeah.
So whoever is using that machine,
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah.
on
His
that
name's
shift,
registered with it, and
yes,
you do your
and
payments.
he works hard. He's fantastic with the
Exactly.
customer.
And I appreciate
he deserves,
that. Yeah,
yes, he deserves to
exactly.
get that tip,
Yeah.
and not to share with everyone where the other
Yeah.
person is not
He
really
didn't do
good.
anything. Yeah, why
Yes.
would it go under
So
his
I
name?
I
So
like that. Yeah,
it's
I
fair,
like that
you know.
changes to
It
the
is. Absolutely.
tipping.
It is fair.
part
But
of
to
it.
be honest, the person who should be tipped should be the chef, not the waiter. Yeah, don't get me wrong, waiters or waitresses, but the chef does all the work inside, you know, and they're kind of neglected because you never see the chef. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
You appreciate, you love the food, but you don't know who cooked it.
You know, I have a very interesting story about that because last summer I went to New York, and it's just I'm just overwhelmed with all the tipping because even if you order takeaway in the machine, there's still an option to
tip.
tip.
Yeah.
Of course, I would press no because I serve myself.
Self,
There's no
yeah,
service
exactly.
involved.
Well, who am I
And then
tipping?
I went to this rooftop bar. I remember, and then the barman was looking. He knew that I pressed the bottom. He knew that there's no tip, and then he said to me immediately. He said to me, "Well, you know, the chef will be cooking your chicken wings.
Oh, boy.
They deserve a tip." And then because I was shocked, I was so
Interesting.
upset. Like you're telling me to,
Forcing
tip.
you to.
Yes, but you
Yeah.
guys have salary, right? Like, but
Yeah.
I did not say that. I just said like, yeah, later on my next order, I will give a tip. But it's just that so imposing
It
in a
is,
way.
it is,
I
yeah.
serve myself, and they even had ding ding ding. So I have to run to the bar
Yeah.
and get my
Get
chicken
your own
wings.
tray,
Yes,
yeah.
and I'm still expected. They want me to tip.
Tip, yeah.
So that's one thing
It's
that
how we as guests or customers perceive it, you know. But they're actually working their.
They're the people doing it.
Yes.
They're doing the work.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you know, it's not easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think also the salary, I think it's something that has to be reviewed
100%.
because if the staff were already imposing tip to their customer,
They
there
make
is
most
a
of their
problem
salary
there.
from tips.
Yes.
They make most of their wages
Yeah,
from tips.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. That's why they're extra polite and extra
Yeah.
nice to you when they're serving you. Even if you have kids, they tend to give an extra Jello or chocolate or something to the
Yeah.
kids just in front of the parents,
For sure.
so that
Yes,
they know
yeah.
that hey,
They
we
went
care about
above
you guys.
and beyond.
And the parents tend to go there again because you win
Yes,
that
yeah,
customer,
yes.
you win that family
look
over.
after
you
the
know?
kids.
Yeah, yeah. It makes a
Absolutely.
lot of sense. You
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
Fantastic
So-
stuff.
I love the energy
Thank
of
you.
this discussion. Seriously.
I think this is a
Thank you.
topic we're going to have to come back and
Again.
revisit because
Yes.
there's so
Absolutely.
many
There's so
things,
many, yeah.
and
Correct.
we've kind of
We've spoken in general
agree
about many things.
But yeah, there's so many
Agree.
different topics that we can
Even when it
spawn
comes to
from all of this.
shopping, you know, that's a whole
don't
different.
know.
Oh my God.
Craziness,
It's
craziness.
insane. That's a whole
Yes.
different discussion, you know,
Yeah.
by itself. Yeah.
And just to let you know, it's Emma's birthday today.
Yes, happy birthday, Emma.
Thank you so much.
She
and
likes
you
it
did
and
bring me a
doesn't
little
like it.
cake with a candle, which was
Oh,
very
to
pleasure.
cute.
celebrate, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that.
You're
Amazing.
welcome.
So,
Glad I made your day.
Ahmed, Chef Bezos, thank
Yes.
you so much for joining
It's
us
my
for
pleasure.
that.
Thank you.
Amazing stuff, Orchids. Until
Thank you,
next
Emma.
time, we'll see you next time on another Manners Unfiltered.
I love the name Manners Unfiltered.
Where you can learn all about the world of etiquette and manners. Manners Unfiltered. This is Manners Unfiltered. Learn about style. Manners Unfiltered. The UAE culture is all that matters.